I want to welcome you today to our weekly question to ponder. We look at the Word of God and find insightful questions that would help us in our spiritual growth as we think about them and then apply it to our life. I want to read today from Hebrews chapter 13, verses 5 and 6. It says, "Let your conversation be without covetousness. Be content with such things that you have. For he has said, I'll never leave you nor forsake you. The Lord is my helper. I will not fear. What can man do to me?" There's the question to ponder. What can man do to me? Now, the first part of the verse talks about your conversation. That means your manner of life, how you live your life. And you will be known and you will be remembered by two things primarily: how you live your life and how you treat other people. How you live your life and how you treat other people. That's how we're going to remember you when you leave this world, as you inevitably shall. He says that he will never leave us or forsake us. That's Jesus' promise for all of us who have put our faith in him. You will never, not one day of your life, for the rest of your life on earth, and then through eternity, you'll never be alone. Jesus said, I'll never leave you, and I won't forsake you. He won't turn his back on you. He won't get exasperated with you. He won't throw up his hands and abandon you. Jesus will be with you always, even to the end of the earth. It also tells us that we can boldly say, the Lord is my helper. What can man do to me? Now let's ponder that for a moment. What can man or woman do to you here on earth? There's a few things they can do. They can gossip about you. Has anybody ever gossiped about you? And inevitably, when people gossip, it gets back to you. What you weren't supposed to know about it, but you will know about it. And even though it won't kill you, you won't die, it's hurtful. It's painful. What can man do to me? Gossip about me. It can also lie about you. The gossip may be partially true. I don't know. But a lie is absolutely false. Sometimes you may have had the experience of having somebody tell a lie about you. Absolutely incorrect information. And it can undermine your reputation, your job, your potential for a promotion perhaps. What can man do to me? He can lie about me. He can gossip about me. How about criticize you? Now, criticism is inevitable. Everybody gets criticized at some point. If you're in a leadership role, I guarantee somebody will criticize you. In my life, I've just had a lot of leadership roles, from elementary to high school and college and on and on and on. Somehow just find myself often in leadership roles. If you dare lead, you have to live with criticism. Question is, how valuable is that? When they criticize you, do you learn from it? Do you defend yourself? Do you just blow it off? Or does it devastate you and you grind to a halt? They can also ignore you. For some people, being ignored is worse than being criticized, lied about, or gossiped about. They just ignore you, undermining your value as a human being. So we read here in Hebrews, and we're not sure who the author is of the book of Hebrews, what can man do to me? And we've just talked about a few of the things that they can do. Now, why did he write this? Well, that first century church was about to move into several hundred years of terrible persecution. He wanted to encourage them in several ways. One, that they wouldn't go through this alone. You're not alone. Jesus Christ will be with you if you've committed yourself to him. He also wanted to clarify, what can man do to me? Well, there are some things that man can do to you, even to the point of taking your life. Homicide, perhaps, or murder. But even then, there's a limited consequence, because if you belong to Jesus, I used to have an associate pastor, Pastor H.J. Vaughn, and he would say this: you can't intimidate me with heaven. When people would say, you can't go there, it's too dangerous, you can't travel there, you can't go on that missions trip, somebody could hurt you, you could die. He said, you can't scare me with heaven. And I think that's a very profound thought. If the worst thing that man can do to you is send you to heaven, nothing wrong with that at all. I believe today that God's hand is upon our life. He will lead us. He will direct us. He will protect us. And someday when we leave this world, we will be with Jesus. What can man do to you? God bless you and have a wonderful week.